Hello, everyone. Good evening, everybody. Guys, am I audible, visible? Please respond. Please put your messages in the chat box. Let me see. Good evening, Bindu, Dipisha, Arpit, Shomai, Amisha. Okay, thank you. Bindu, Jacob, Valencia, Arpit, Sia, Mahi, Ashu, Prince, Awan, Gayatri, Arfat, Kaneet. Yes, guys. So happy to see you all again. Yesterday we have taken the introduction of Java, in which we have seen the buzzwords of the Java, why the Java is so much everywhere in all the technology, and why it is working in background. We have seen the advantages of the Java. Then we have seen the basics, how to write a simple hello world program, and how to use if else, switch case, loops, for while, do while loop, and these are the basic things we have seen in yesterday's session. And today we will go in little bit advanced. 80 KT syllabus, yes. See, if you are having aware about all these basic things which I have covered yesterday, today, and which I'll going to cover tomorrow, that will cover the entire syllabus of the Java core syllabus. I'm talking core syllabus. Okay, advanced syllabus, yes, I had to be covered. We need to cover that. That will be separately covered. And the ppts is being shared with all of you. I guess you can refer that. It is in very detail. You will have all the answers in that ppt, and it is filled with lot of programs which you can study. And today we will start with the little bit advanced concepts, object oriented programming. Now Java is a object oriented programming, so it definitely has the all the six principles which are there by given by the oops, and that are class, object, encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism. We're going to see all these features with demonstration today. So ready for it? Can we go ahead, guys? Can we begin? See, the PPT is there in the link, guys. Yashwant PPT is there. I can see the link of the PPT which is being shared. Just see the messages from the let's upgrade. It's been shared. Okay, you can refer that. And after today's session, you will get the link for today's PPT also. So, guys, please allow me to share. I'm presenting my screen. I hope it is visible to all of you. Is the screen visible, guys? Please keep on giving me the confirmation in the chat box. I am continuously looking into it. So today, yesterday it was very procedural. We have seen Jai Hind, Jai Hind, Jai Hind, Rajdeep. Let's go ahead. Today we will see object-oriented principles. And when the object-oriented word comes, there is a class. Now, what is a class? Class, before forming an object, you need something. What kind of objects, how it will look. So you need some kind of blueprint, and that is been provided. That blueprint, like building a house, you need to have a blueprint before that, right? So for building any kind of program, any structure, you need to have one class which will define the structure of your program. So class is like a blueprint. It is a user defined data type. Yesterday we have seen primitive data types, non-primitive data types. In primitive data types, you had int, float, double, all the data types which are given by Java. And this is class is a data type which is non-primitive. That means a developer will create the class. So it is non-primitive data type, and it's a user defined. It gives us the prototype, and accordingly we can design the objects. For example, see, here is a class vehicle. When I say vehicle, it represents all types of vehicles. And now vehicles can have different properties such as number of doors, the speed, the color, and the average, and so on. The length and the width, how many seaters it can accommodate, all the attributes you can keep on creating. There are n number of attributes you can create. So the data which you want to store can be coming here in the variables, and the behavior which you want that particular class should behave, then that will be coming in the methods. Like run is one behavior, go forward is one behavior, reverse is one behavior, accelerate one behavior, brake another behavior. So like this you can have several behaviors which we will be doing it in methods, and we can have variables to store our data. So this is the main purpose of the class, to give you a blueprint. Guys, if you have any questions, any doubt, please keep putting in the chat box. Do not fill with n number of messages, so that I will have my concentration towards valid questions. And this class, you can see it has the access specifiers. We'll talk about this access specifiers in detail, but class, you can give a name, any name which you want. And conventionally, this name, class name, should start always with a capital letter. Conventionally, syntactically, even if you start with a small case, it doesn't give you error, but conventionally it says that it always has to be the first alphabet, always has to be the capital. In the same way, see, for variables also, conventionally it's been said that the first alphabet has to be in a small case. And the for methods also, run, it's in small. If second word is there for the method, that will begin with a capital letter. So these are the conventions which have been followed in the Java, and which all the good developers follow this. So you guys also can follow. Class is a keyword which you have to give it before you define a class, and then rest you can define n number of variables, you can have n number of methods. This is the basic structure of the class. We will create the class soon. Then there is an object. Now suppose we are having a class of employee class. Here, if you can see, there is an employee class with the members as employee name, employee code, age, date of birth, salary. These are the members of the class. Then you can have n number of objects of this class. Now class is like a blueprint, and object is a real world thing. Class is not a real world, but object is the real world. Yes, class is also known as logical entity. Very good, Bindu. Yes, you can say that it is a logical entity, and the objects are the real world. So here you can see the Martin. Martin is real world. Martin is having some employee code. He's having age. He's having date of birth. He's having salary. So now this object is different. Bella object is different. She is different. Every object is different. You can have n number of objects in your system, and the all objects will have same kind of structure. All objects will have the same structure which you have mentioned in the class, which you are mentioning in the class. That structure will be applied to all the objects of that particular class. I hope this object is clear. Like, let's take an example. You have a customer. Customers are real world entity. You can have customer as your object. Employee is real world entity, so employee is object. So this way, animals, orders, all these kinds of, you can have classes. There is one more thing, you can have bank account as your class. Bank account We'll also have like what is the account number, what is the balance, this bank account belongs to which person. All these attributes can be there, and this can also be a object. Yes, object is anything that has a physical appearance. Yes, you can say this. So this is a object. And let's, before going ahead, now we have seen class and object. Let's just execute it and see some demonstration of it. um, let's open IntelliJ. Yesterday, I guess you people all have installed IntelliJ at your place. Is the IntelliJ visible, guys? It is loading. You can create a new project. Yesterday I have created one. I'll have the another. Now it's day 2. We can give store it in a day 2. I will give some names, say OOP concepts. Okay, this I will create. Today I have increased all the fonts and all. I hopefully it will be visible to all of you. So as you can see, the framework has also given us so many folders, and the main class is there with hello world. It is already there. If you want, you can change the coding of it, and you can make it execute any of the program. You can write it over here with little changes. So let's begin with, already there is a class main. What I'll do, I'll have another class. You can simply right click on a package and have new class. In the same package, org.example, if you want, you can have your own package also. Like you can click on Java, right click on the Java folder and create a package. Say OOP. I'm creating a package called as OOP. You can see here the package is created, and now inside this package, you can have your class. Say for example, employee class, or let me have just yeah, okay, fine. Employee is the class. Okay, what is the package? Package is OOP. I hope it is visible to all of you, the screen. Guys, give me the confirmation. IntelliJ, if it is not downloaded, Amisha, you can download it later on. I have given a link in the PPT from where to download. Just go on the link and download whatever version suits for you. If your system is Mac, Linux, or Windows, whatever, accordingly you can install. And now in the employee class, you can have here various members, variables that are like int, say ID, string, name of the employee you can have. Then you can have salary, or long, I'll take it in a double. And so on. You can have all the variables, and you can have methods also, like for example, void show data, which will show you the data. And what data? It will show you the ID, name, and salary. Let me just write here as out. uh, ID is whatever ID that will be printed, and you can go on printing your name, employee name. Just make it more nice looking. Salary. Okay, so now this is your member function, and these are your variables. You can have the main method in the same class if you want, or else you can have it in a different class. Like main is already over here, you can make use of this main also, no issues. If you wanted to have it here, you can have it. Like for example, let me write psvm, that is main method. You can create an object of this employee class. Say I'm creating the object called as Nidhi, new employee. This is my object. And now you can, suppose I want to store all these data, ID, name, and salary. What I can do is I can directly use these variables like Nidhi dot, I can use ID, and I can store some value, say 110. This is one way, using an object and putting the values in the variable. But this is not advisable, as you also know that there is a you need to give security to the data where you are storing, and data is stored here in the variable. So what is the ideal thing? It is said that you should keep these variables are private, so that these variables will not be accessible outside the class. It will be used only inside the class, that is, it will be the private. Why use string array? Okay, this you are asking. Somebody is Chetan is asking. This is for the command line arguments. We use this string arguments. We will talk about this later. If you want to see runtime, how yesterday I have shown you how you run the program. You run the program by Java command, and then you run. So at the time of execution, when the execution begin of that program and you want to enter some parameters, now see, main is the first method to start its execution, and you want to pass some parameters to this main method, then here is the place. From here you can pass it at the time of execution. So to do that, this string args is there. You can pass the runtime arguments from here. For that reason it is there. You can also command line arguments, you can get it from here. So right now we are into class and object. So I hope this is clear. Chetan, I hope this is clear. Give me the confirmation, guy. Thank you. So now Nidhi ID is 110. This I can say, but usually you should keep it private. So I'm making, always have the habit of all the variables has to be private. Okay. Now if these variables are private and my main method is in the same class, but for example, say I'm having a new class. Say new class, I'm employee implementation, IMP. This much I will keep. And here I am having the main method. Okay. And here I want to create the object of this. Just a second. I'll take this code over here. Okay. I'll delete this main method from here and I'll take it over here. Okay. Now what is happening? ID is giving me error. It is telling me ID is private. Now, if it is private, how to put value inside this? Why it has to be private? Just now I mentioned that the variables for the security purpose, you always keep it as private. No variable should be accessed directly. If anybody wants to access the variables, they can access it by using methods. And you can have a method like you want to set ID, you can have set method. How to set a method? Like say void set ID. I can have, and when I want to set the ID, yes, somebody is saying use setter and getter. Yes, I want to go little bit slow at this time. So you want to set ID, that means you have to give certain parameter, right? So let's just say only for one, we'll see set ID. I'll set some ID, say int ID 1, I'm saying. And now this ID1 will be assigned to this ID. So I'm writing here ID is equal to ID1. Okay. We'll write ID is equal to ID1. Now you can see here, if you want to get what a method you can also have a method void get ID. And if it is a get, what it will do, it will give you a return value. You can have a return, say id. Okay. And now when it is return, what has to be the return type? Will it be void? Will it be void, guys? No. Then what it will be? It has to be, see, you have to check on id is which data type. Id is int. So when I'm returning id from a method, then the return type has to be integer. Then the return type has to be very good, guys. So void cannot be there. So integer is my return type. Now you can, in implementation class, you can simply write so like first you can set your id, nidhi dot set id, and I'm setting 1110 as nidhi's id, and I can get the nidhi's id as nidhi dot get id, and this will give me the id. I'll just print this ID and you can check your output. So it is compiling. Yeah. What is the ID of the Nidhi? As 1110. We can use constructors. We will be using constructor. We will be using multiple methods. We'll be overloading it. All we will be doing it, Aniket, but not at once. Not at once. We will do it one by one. So currently, all of you guys, did you understood what is method? What is function? Only that part I wanted you people to understand. Okay. Krishna is saying yes. What about others? Have you guys understood? Let me take another example. Let me take it in main method. You simply, you are having void sum as one function which is accepting, say, two parameters, int a comma int b. Just a second, guys. I am just a second, guys. I'm stopping from 1 second. I'm very sorry, guys. I just interrupted the session in between. Very, very sorry for the interruption. But there will be a team from the upgrade team which will be coming around 7:15. So for it was a call regarding that, and let's continue our discussion. Yes. Guys, what I was explaining was functions, methods. Now here, see, I'm explaining it in a very simple way. Now there is a sum function, void, return type is void. Currently it is like not returning anything, and it is accepting two variables, a and b. So let me just write here s out, and addition is, you can write in the bracket equations, a plus b is the answer. Okay. And in the main method, like, I don't want this hello world. What I'll do, I'll just call this method, some method I will call it. How to call the method? Oh, am I not sharing screen? I am sharing screen, guys. My screen is visible. Screen is not visible. Let me present it again. Is the screen visible, guys? Goofy, Chinmay, Amisha, Mahi, Aniket, Pooja. Please check. I'm sharing now. Once the screen is visible, let me know. Okay, it is visible. So the code you are understanding, I have written one function which is accepting two parameters, and it is displaying the addition of these two numbers. Now, if you want to call this method, you have to create an object of the class. What is the class name? Class name is main. So I'll be creating the object, say obj equal to new main I have written. And now with this object, I can call the sum method. I can pass any two numbers which I want to add, and it will print the addition. Let's execute this. Okay, I am executing a wrong class. Okay, let me execute it this way. Can you see, all of you, the output 112? Let me do one thing. I will take this particular box on this side. It will be more nice and visible. Can you see this output 112? Addition is 112. Okay. So these are the methods. You can have return type also for the method, like you can mention int over here, and we can write it here simply return a plus b value. Just mind on your brackets, curly brackets, how many are there, how you're using, and whatever answer you are getting in return, that you can store it in some variable and display that variable, or else you can just directly print it this way also. This is like the return type of that function. This way also can be done. Is the function topic clear to all of you? Give me the confirmation, guys. Yesterday I went little bit fast. Today I don't want to go fast because it's like the advanced concepts. Okay, thank you, guys. Sia, what is your doubt? Please go ahead with your doubt. Okay, now see, I'm having the employee class over here, and now somebody asked me that setter and getter methods. Now if you, now just I have shown you the demo, you can set the id, you can get the id. So I can set the id, get the id, and in the same way I can set the name, I can get the name, I can set the salary. These are called as setter method, the methods which sets the value, and getter method, the method which gives you the value. These are setter and getter methods. If you want, you can manually type it and write it, but I'll give you a shortcut for setter and getter methods. What you can do is, you can go in the code, you can select generate. Currently we are studying methods. Yeah, you can select generate, you can select setter and getter method, and it will ask you, you want for one variable, two variable, or three. I can mention that I want for all the three variables, setter and getter method. So I'm selecting all the three variables and saying okay. And now you can see how the framework is helping me. Framework has created setter and getter method for all the three variables. See, get id, set id. Get method is returning you, set method is accepting a parameter, whereas return type is void. Okay, I will explain it again. See, you have to go, you can type it manually, you can type it, Prasad, or else you can go in the code and you can click on generate. In generate, you get constructor, getter, setter option, and so many, or two string. You can use any of the method. I have currently used getter and setter, which is already there, and this will write the code for you. The code is here. Setter method is there, getter method is there, set name is there, get name is there. Then we have get salary, set salary. Is the setter and getter methods clear, guys? Please put it in the chat box so that I can move ahead. I'm waiting for your responses, guys. Okay. Okay. Jaimeen, Aniket, thank you. Okay. Concept of setter, getter, and the methods is clear. So this is the one way of setting the variables and getting the data. There is also another way, that is constructor, that we will see shortly. Let me just cover the methods part first. This, yes, very good. Somebody noticed that this pointer, and is asking very specifically what is this in the set method. Okay, I plan to explain this on the later part, but let me just explain it here only. What is this keyword? This is a keyword, and what is happening, see, I will explain it here in the main method. Let me just have here, or let's go in employee method. I'm having a name, okay, and I want to set name. Okay, so what is the method? Let me take this up over here. Okay, now can you see what is the name of this member variable? This is a member, right? Class member. This is a class member. Okay, the class member variable name is name. Okay, and what is here in the parameter? This is the parameter. Okay, and what has happened, I should not write comment over here, I will write it over here, my comment. Okay, so the parameter is also name. If I'll write name is equal to name, okay, isn't it ambiguous? This is ambiguous. How the compiler will know that this name is equal to this name, right? So in order to indicate that this particular, the left hand side variable belongs to class and the right hand side variable belongs to the method parameter, to explain that, to refer to your current object, we are using this pointer, this keyword. Okay, so this actually refers to current object. What is the current object? Now, where you are creating an object of employee class, you are creating an object of employee class, that is Nidhi. Your this is representing Nidhi. That is your current object. Thank you, Sia. Thank you, Ramchandra. Hemu. Okay, guys, this is clear or not, or else we will see this again. So whenever you are having the parameter name same and the class member name same, class variable name same, that time you use the this keyword. I hope the explanation is perfectly clear. Thank you, Jayesh. Okay, let's go ahead and finish. Look from our slides angle. See what happens in the slides. No, we get like all the points. If anything I'm missing out, that also gets covered. So this we have seen that method has an access specifier, and specifically this access specifier is public. See, in Java, there are various access specifiers, but remember always that method has the access specifier as public because we want the methods to be accessible from anywhere. So we make it as public. Now, when we make it as public, the method, this particular function will be available in that class. It will be available in that file, entire file, and it will be available outside that package also. For example, see in the, let me go in IntelliJ. Here we have created two packages. OOP is one app package and org.example is another package. If you are indicating something as public, then OP data can be accessed in org.example, another package also, if it is public. If it is only public, then it will be available, accessible. If any other data type is there, it won't be accessible. So let's come here again in our slide. This void represents the return type. Your return type could be depending on what data you are returning from your method. This is the name of the method. You can have multiple parameters in the parenthesis of the method. Let's go ahead. See, this is the example I have given so that you can refer it later on. There is a public access specifier, int return type sum, which is accepting two parameters. And this time the return type is int because it is returning a integer value. You are having a return statement. Okay, so let's go ahead. Access specifier, just now I explained. Public means you can access it from any class which is there in your package, or it is there outside of your package. It will be accessible. Attendance link will be shared with you, and it is, I guess it is already shared. You can access it from any class. Public. Private means you can access it only within the class, not outside the class. So it, your data members, class members, the variables especially, needs to be private. Protected, we will talk about this protected in variables in inheritance more. Protected means, suppose you are having two classes, one class is a child, another is the parent, and in that scenario protected variables or protected members will be accessed by that class itself and its child class. Yes, return statement has to be Bindu. Very good point. Return statement. Like Bindu just asked me the previous question. Like return statement has to be the last statement in the method. Yes, it has to be the last statement in the method, because once you do return, the control goes out of that method. So it has to be the last one. Very good point. Okay, so protected means it will be, your data will be accessible in the class and its child class. And default access specifier, when you are not specifying any access specifier, that means it is default. And here the default in Java, default access specifier is not private or public. It is a default which works differently than all the three. Default will work like it will be available throughout your program. The data is available to the child, to the uh, uh, to its own class, and to any other class. It will be available provided that it is in the same package. But if you're using the default data from any other package, if you're using the default data from any other package, it will not be available. You have to explicitly make it as public. Let me, if you want to elaborate this, I can elaborate it in IntelliJ. Now see, we are having here private will be accessible only inside this class. Now this private, I can use it in show data, ID, name and salary. There is no issue. Now you see here in the implementation class, this is another class. Now if here I will use that ID, you have seen that there is an error. And now suppose here you are having any variable. Let me just say that you are having any int x, y, z. You have not written any access specifiers over here. Then what is the access specifier for the xyz? Guys, please put in the chat box, what is the access specifier for xyz? Waiting for your responses. XYZ variable is private, public, protected, or default. Yes, Aniket is saying default. Any other answers? Yasir, Sneha, Aniket, Neeraj, Dhruv. Dhruv is saying private. How come it is private? If I am not writing anything, no public and no private, guys. When I'm not writing any access specifier, that means it is default. See, in C++, what happens if you're not writing any access specifier? That means it is private. In many of the programming languages, it is like that. If you're not writing anything, it is private. But in Java, if you're not writing any access specifier explicitly, then it is not private, not public, it is default. Okay, please get that point. And if it is default, it will be accessible in this class, in this class, in this entire package. Now OOP package xyz is accessible. Like if I'll say employee implementation in another class, if I'll use here, like if I'm writing here nidhi dot xyz, no issues, no issues, because it's in the same package. But employee class, if I'm using it in main, it will not be accessible, because now this is a default. But if I would have made this as public, it would have been accessible in any other package. Note a difference between default and public, that public is accessible outside the package, but default is not accessible outside the package. Am I clear, guys? Can we move ahead? Can we move ahead, guys? Please respond. Please respond, guys. Different class, different package is possible. Yes, possible. Okay, so this we have already seen that method has return type, name, parameter list, and method body. This is already been covered. Example is also covered. Okay, let's see what are static methods, and after this we will invite the members which wants to join in your session. We'll invite them. Um, let's see what are static methods. Let's go into IntelliJ. I'm in main method. Okay, let me delete this previous method. Okay, I'll have here simply a simple method like say hello. This is my method name, say hello, and it's public void say hello. And the job of this method is that to say that hello everybody. Okay, this is the job. Now, how to call this method? I can call this method by object that is already we have seen. Okay, somebody is still asking me what is the difference. But see, I'm telling that private is accessible only inside the class. Default is accessible inside that package. And public is accessible outside the package. Protected is accessible to the class itself and its child class. Hope this access specifier is clear to all of you. PPT link, you will get it, do not worry. Currently, please listen to what I'm saying instead of worrying for the PPT. Okay, today we have lot of topics to cover, and let's just go very fast. Today I am not going inside PPT lot. I am more into IntelliJ, want to show more examples. So we are here to talk about static methods. Okay, screen I'm sharing, is it visible? Screen is visible, guys? Please respond. Is my screen visible, everybody? Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys. If the screen is visible, we can continue. Just a second, it's loading. Okay. So now, suppose this method is static. Let me make this method as static. Now, static means this belongs to class. See, there is a feature called as encapsulation. And what is this feature says that? Let me have a paint and explain you. So I am mentioning some class, and accordingly the class, the objects are created, different objects which has the same structure. Say object 1, object, here I am having object 2, here I am having object 3. Okay, 3 objects are there, and each of them will be having its own data, that is called as encapsulation. Each of them is having their own data, that is encapsulation. Okay, so when all the 3 objects are sharing one, like let me have here static data. Okay, when they share one single copy, it is called as static. Okay, so static is something which is shared by all the objects. It doesn't belong to any one particular object. Suppose, for example, object 1 may have the id as like it may have the id as, we mention it over here, id equal to 1001, name equal to say Nidhi. Object 2 may have id as 1002 and name equal to Dhruv. Here it may have id as 1003 and name equal to some Aniket. This is what? This is separate. The data is separate. This is instance variable. These are instance variable or object data. This belongs to object. Every object is having its different data. But when it comes to static, the 3 objects will have the same version. All the 3 objects will have the same data. This is the difference of static and the instance variable. So when I'm making this say hello method as static, that then I don't need an object to call this method. I can directly call this method in my main. See, main is a static here. Main is also a static, which doesn't, static means it doesn't require object to call. So main is the first method to get called. And before main, whose object is going to come and who is going to call main? Nobody. And this is possible because of the static keyword. Okay, I hope now if you'll run this program, you can see that without object, the you have called the say hello method and it is printing hello everyone or everybody. Okay, this is static method. Let me also explain you what are static variables. Let's say you are having a variable, say int count, which is equal to 0, and I am making it as static. Now, as the diagram is there, now count variable is over here, 0. Object 1 also having the count value as 0. Object 2 also having the count value as 0. Object 3 is also having the count value as 0. Now, let me do one thing. Let me create a main object, say obj1 new main. This is one object. Let me create 2 3 objects. Okay, four objects I'm creating. So it's 2, 3, and 4. I've created four objects of the main class, and now I'll have one more method, say void in like increase count. Okay, this method I'm having, and inside this what I'm doing, I'm simply count plus plus. I'm increasing the value of count. Okay, what I will do, I will call this method by object 1. Object 1 dot increase count. Object 2 dot increase count. And now s out, and I'll try to print the count value. Say I'm printing plus. For object 3, I will try to print for obj3, the count is, let me write here, count. Okay. Can anybody tell me what will be my answer? What will be the output? Yes, guys. What will be the output of this particular program? Put it in the chat box. What will be the answer? For object 3, what will be the value of count? Waiting for your answers. Is the network slow? For object 3, the count is coming as 2. The count is coming as 2. I hope you all are getting it, how the answer 2 is coming. Object 1 is increasing the value. Value has become 1. 1 is shared by all the objects. Object 2 has increased the value, that is 2. And again, it will be shared by all the objects. And for object 3, you print, let me just write it here, obj3 dot count. Again, if I'll run obj3 dot count, the answer is going to be same 2. You can also check for other object, that is obj4. If you want, you can check for that also. It will be 2. I hope this point is clear. Okay, guys, let's move ahead. Static variables we have covered. If you have anything to put in the chat box, please go ahead and write it. So static method is a method that belongs to class rather than instance. It doesn't belong to instance, it belongs to the class. Static methods are accessed through the class name rather than the object. So you can directly call it, or else you can use class name to call it. Just like here, the class name is method demo and method demo.sum. You are calling that way also, you can call it. When a variable is declared static in Java programming, it means that the variable belongs to the class itself rather than to any specific instance, which means that I was showing you a static variable. This is being shared by all the objects. If n objects are there, this variable will be shared by all the object. So even if any one object changes the value of this variable, it is changed for all the objects. I guess there is some lag in the video. Guys, all of you able to get me? All of you understood? Just give me the confirmation. Just give me the confirmation that you people have understood till static data. Static variables and methods is clear. Give me the confirmation. Put it in the chat box. Getting the things till static data, static variables. Let me switch my network. Switching my network. Yes, guys, please give me the confirmation that you have understood till static data, so that we can start with a new topic, that is constructor. Waiting for your messages. Yes, Dhruv, Amisha, Priyal, Aniket, Malik, Yashir, Gayatri, Jamin, Tejas. Okay, guys, let's continue ahead. Thank you. Let's see what are constructors. A constructor is a special method of class that initializes a newly created object. Now, I just want somebody from the upgrade team to confirm me. Is it all going fine? Is the network having any issue? Okay, guys. Okay. So let's go ahead and see what are constructors coming back in the IntelliJ. Now here you can see that, let me go in employee. Again, you have setter getter methods. This is one way of setter methods to initialize all the variables what you are having, but you can also have one more option of initializing all these variables with the help of constructor. You can write a constructor. See, constructor looks like, let me write it over here. Constructor, if the class name is employee, the constructor will also have the same name as the class name, and my constructor will be looking like employee. This is my class name, and this is my default constructor. The constructor which is not having any parameters, nothing written inside this. This is my default constructor. When you were not writing constructor, still the constructor was there, which was provided by the compiler, and now you have overwritten this constructor. Now, inside this, you can write the variables, you can initialize the variable, or else you can simply, as I have shown you, you can go in code section, you can generate constructor, you can type it if you want, select all the variables you want to initialize and say okay. Once this has been done, what happens is you can see here the parameters are mentioned in the employee. So now next thing is, when you are creating the object of this employee class, here in the implementation, you have to pass the parameters. For example, ID, name, salary, and some XYZ. Currently, I'll delete this XYZ because it is not needed now. Okay. So in the employee implementation part, what I'll do, I'll pass the parameters as ID, name, and salary. So what is the ID? Let me just give 111. Name, you can give it as Gayatri, and you can give as salary some. Okay, let me, this needs to be in the double quotes. Let me remove. Okay, somehow the messages are not loaded. Okay, so this has been constructor initialized in the employee class. See that error was coming, which is again gone. Let me have it here only. So you have written a constructor which is accepting 3 parameters and which will be passed from this object. That means when the object is created, you are creating object here with a new keyword. That time your constructor is getting called. So now your constructor is getting called from here, and these values are passed over here to the employee. And as here your ID, name, and salary, these 3 variables are same with the instance variable, you are using here this keyword, which is referring that it's the it is the which this is referring to the current object. What is the current object? This object Nidhi is your current object, so it is referring to this object. And if you want, you can print the values. Like for example, you want to see S out, you can write Nidhi over here and print and check. Okay, Nidhi's name I have given Gayatri. We can change Nidhi's name to Nidhi, say Sharma, my surname. Okay, this I have given. We can check this, and when you want to see this, you can have one more method written, that is toString. Just click on this, generate, and toString. The job of the toString method is nothing but to print all the variables value. To all the variables value it will print, that is ID, name, salary, it will print. And this is the method which is coming from the object class, which is the super class of all the objects, and this has been overridden. That's why this annotation refers that this particular toString method is overridden. Guys, if you have any question, you can put it in the chat box. Or else if you don't have any question, you can put no questions. Okay, sorry, somehow my chats were not loading, but now it is loading. I can see you all your chats. Okay, so now toString method is there, and the one simple way, code generate, and you can generate toString any method you want. It will quickly generate for us. Thank you guys, Priyal Devi. Thank you for the confirmation. And now you can run your program. Implementation part I'm running, and you can check the output. Okay, see, employee ID 111 Nidhi Sharma, and salary is some salary is coming. Okay, so this way you can write toString method which will give you all the values of this member variables, and constructor you can initialize the object. Okay, let's go ahead and look from our slides. Did we missed any point, or have we covered anything? So this is a default constructor. The constructor which is coming in front of you is, you want the constructor explanation again? Okay, let me give you the explanation again. Let's go in IntelliJ, and what I can do for you guys is, let me have another class as, let me create another package only. I'll create a package, say constructor pack. Okay, because we are understanding the constructor concept, so I have created a constructor package. Inside this package, let me have new class as customer, and inside this customer class I can have int say id of the customer, string name of the customer, and int age of the customer. Let me have this three only. If I want to initialize this three data, I can do it by using constructor. I can simply go on, and I'm saving my time and selecting all the three variables. The constructor is generated for me. And now in the implementation part, let me have one main method. You can have it in the same class also, not an issue. Or else you can have it in, like, let me have it same customer. Say customer is custom one equal to new customer, and you can give your id as 122 and name as Priya. Okay, please put your name in double quotes, not in single quote. It's a string, so you have to put it in, and the age is 22. You have initialized the object. Okay, you have initialized the object. Now in the same way, you can initialize multiple objects. Like you can have customer 2, which can be having different ids, which is having, instead of Priya, the name is Ria, and the age is 28. And if you want to see s out customer 1 data, and you want to see customer 2 data, you can see it. Okay, output is not, it is giving me some address because I have not overrid. This is giving me the reference of that customer 1 and customer 2. It is not giving me the values of this id, name, and age because I have not overridden toString method. It is directly printing the objects itself. So let's override the toString method for all the three variables. And now again you can run and check your output. See, the output is id, name, and age. Everything is correctly displayed. Yes, default constructor, when you don't write any constructor, default constructor is there, which is given by the compiler. How the default constructor look like? Now your class name is customer. Of course, all the constructor always has the same name as the class name, and default constructor doesn't have any parameters or anything is written inside that. So that is the default one, like this way. This is default. And if you don't write the constructor, this default constructor is provided by the compiler. But now in this case, I have written the constructor. So when creating an object, the constructor will get called. And now as I have overridden the constructor, it is accepting 3 parameters. So it is necessary for me to pass 3 parameters. Otherwise, you can have a concept of constructor overloading. If you don't want to, you want this way also object should be created, like customer cust3 equal to new customer, and the programmer should be able to create this way also. Now see, there is an error coming. What is this error? If you read out this error, let's just come. If you read out it, the error, it is coming that change signature. Like constructor, it is not finding it matching constructor. That's why this error is coming. You can have your default constructor customer, and let's just have some default which is not accepting any parameter, and now this error is gone. So now in your program you are having 2 constructors. the one constructor which is not accepting any parameters, and the other constructor which is accepting 3 parameters. So this particular concept is called as constructor overloading. If clause does not contain user-defined constructor, then compiler will generate a constructor called as default constructor. Very good, Bindu. Correct. Any other question? When we create object, the constructor is called. Very good. If the parameter is passed, it will call the constructor. Yes. And even if the parameter is not passed and now you are having the another version, it will call that particular version. For the customer 3, the default constructor will be called. If you want two variables, see, you can have various versions. Just go in code, generate constructor. You want to generate only for ID, let's generate for ID. Now this constructor is there, which is generating, which is initializing only ID. So you can have the object like say customer 4, which is equal to new customer, and only ID you can pass. You can have, you want to have a constructor which is initializing only name, you can have that way, but better is to have setter and getter method. Then if you want two methods, two parameters to get initialized, you can select only ID and name. That way also you can have. So right now in my program, now I am having how many versions? This is the version 1, version 2, and then this is 3 and 4. I have written 4 constructors. 4 constructors are written, and this is called as constructor overloading. Okay, network problem is happening. Okay. Guys, am I visible, audible? Somebody is, Spurti is saying that network issue is happening. Is it from my side or is it from your side, guys? Please confirm me. If parameter is passed, it's called parameterized constructor. Yes, if parameter is passed, it is called as parameterized constructor. If no parameter is there, it is called as default constructor. Okay, so let's come here and cover our slide. So this is the one which is you are able to see is the default one. The constructor is internal, compiler internally gives the default constructor. And when you create an object, the constructor is called, this is the default one. There is no argument constructor when you are writing some code in the constructor, but that constructor is not accepting any parameter. It is no argument constructor. And parameterized constructor, the one which accepts the parameter. See, this is no argument constructor. This constructor is not default. This is no argument because it doesn't have, this is having some code written inside it, but this does not accept any parameter. So it is no argument constructor. Parameterized constructor, the constructor which accepts the parameter, is parameterized constructor. This keyword we have already covered. I have just explained you guys what is the this keyword. What is the purpose of this keyword? Please put it in the chat box. This keyword refers to what? This keyword refers to what? Please put in the chat box. This keyword refers to? I need answer. This keyword refers to the current object. Yes, current object, not just the object. It refers to the current object. Thank you, guys. So this we have seen. Okay, there is local and instance variable. One more point, a very quick point. Say you are having a big code I can see over here. Let me just delete, or else let me delete this much of code. I don't want so much of data. Okay, there is a class customer. Inside this, if you are writing int, say ID, This particular variable is called as instance variable. It, instance means what? Instance means object. So this id is the variable which is for the object. For example, we are having string name. This will be also called as instance variable. Okay, but suppose when I have a method, and inside this method when I declare any variable I, or I declare like these variables are called as local variables. I hope this concept is clear, local variable and instance variable. Yes, yes. If you haven't learned, but it is always better if you have any other programming language. No, this particular video will help you to finish your Java quickly. But you need to have some idea, because I am going at a good pace. So if you are having some idea about programming, this will help you. Or else even like basic things, if you are aware of, this will brush up on your skills. Okay. Um, cannot be used inside main method. See, the purpose of the this keyword is what? The purpose of the this keyword is to refer to the object, right? And when we refer to the object in main method, we create the object, right? Outside the main method, we refer the object. So we use this mainly inside the methods and the constructors. Definitely you will get the link. Global variable, all the concept is same as C++. The variables which are accessible everywhere. Local means accessible only inside the only inside a function or any block in which it is defined. So right now here we saw the new concept, that is instance variable. Now local variables are different than the instance variable. Let's come to the point of polymorphism. The word poly means many. This poly means many. Sorry, the handwriting is so bad. And morph means forms. So poly means many forms. We are having the many forms. So now this many form can be achieved in two ways. Polymorphism can be achieved in two ways, that is compile time polymorphism or runtime polymorphism. Now, in the compile time polymorphism, which is also called as static binding or early binding. Remember this word. If anybody is saying static binding or early binding, that means it is referring to the compile time. And when somebody is saying runtime or late binding, it is referring to the dynamic time. Okay. Yes. So now polymorphism can be achieved with the three practical ways, that is method overloading, constructor overloading, and method overriding. We have already seen constructor overloading. Constructor overloading, just now I have shown you by having 4 versions of the constructors. And now we can have a eye on method overloading and overriding. Let's have a look on how it looks. Let's go in IntelliJ. Say we are having as, let me have it over here, method. Okay, I am writing sum as one method which is accepting, let it accept 2 parameters, say int a comma int b, and inside this it is I'm printing the addition is, and I'm printing the value of a plus b. I can also have one more version of sum which can accept 3 parameters, a plus b plus c. You can also have and you can have n number of versions. I'm just creating few versions and to show you. Some you can have the return type as float, and inside this you can have, say, float a, float b, you can have int or float, whatever you want. I just want to create different versions. Okay, as it is return type I have given float, what will I do? I will just return this value. Okay, so now this is three versions of sum is there. This is called as function overloading. Okay, so now if you want, you can call it call in the main method, say customer object you can create over here, and by using this you can call some, say integer sum, and you can pass two values, c1 dot, and you can pass the float data. Remember, when you are passing the float value, you have to mention f. Okay, and you will get the answer. And here I need to print, then only, because it is returning the value. Okay, let's run this. Addition is 46, and here you can see 135.66. Interfaces and all that is we are going to cover, but it will take time. Interfaces, we have to reach to that point. Okay, so let's go ahead. I hope this is clear. Method overloading is clear, guys. Construct, we have covered method overloading and constructor overloading. If it is Valencia, thank you, Valencia. Karthik. Dhruv. Okay, thank you, guys. Let's see method overriding. Method overriding, we will see it in inheritance. Let's begin with the inheritance and then see what is overriding means. Okay, constructor overloading we have just seen, having different versions. Method overloading also we have covered. Let's go into inheritance now. And thank you, guys. Thank you, Amisha, Valencia, Priyal, Ramchandra, Karthik, Amisha, Hemangi, Abhishek. Yes, guys. Okay, so now see, what is inheritance? Inheritance is a concept which is there for reusability purpose. Now in one class we are doing a lot of activities, we are having the members, we are writing the methods, and now when we create another class, we may want that some data from the previous class to get again used. So that time there should not be we will be creating again new variables and methods which are already been created. That way it should not happen. So we have inheritance. Like here simple examples are given. We have different like we have dog, we have cat, and this both belongs to animal. So animal can have some properties which belongs to same, which can go for cat and dog also. Like we can have books can, like all the different kinds of books, paper books, e-books, audio books. This can go in this can have some common attributes. When I say attribute, that means it can have some common variables, it can have some common methods. So why to write each in different three classes? We can write it in books, and we can make use of this particular version in all the three places. And this is called as inheritance reusability. Like a digital wallet, prepaid wallet, postpaid wallet, crypto wallet, we can have it. All the purpose are same, and somewhere they have the common characteristics which can be put into generalized way, which can be put into parent one. And now there is a subclass child class. Okay, inheritance, let me show you the next slide. See, class A is a parent, class B is a child. When you have this kind of simple scenario, one class is inherited by other class, that is called as single inheritance. You can have multi-level inheritance, whereby one class is being inherited by another class, and then the B class is getting inherited into C class at different levels. So that is multi-level inheritance. We can have hierarchical inheritance, that is one class is being inherited by two different classes. In C++, we do have one more type of inheritance. What is that? Can anybody tell me? We can have a scenario where suppose class A is there, that can be inherited into B, that can be inherited into C, and both can be inherited into D. So this kind of, yes, multiple inheritance, very good. So this B and C, two parents and one child, two parent and one child is multiple inheritance. And this what I have drawn is a combination of different inheritance. This is can be also called as hybrid inheritance. This is done in Java through the interfaces, with the help of interfaces. And we will see interfaces and how this multiple inheritance can be made possible, that also we will see. But currently inheriting two classes, having two classes in the parent is not possible. We cannot inherit two classes, but yes, multiple interfaces can be inherited. And what are interfaces, that we'll see in short period of time. Here also example is given, like employee manager. Manager is nothing but an employee. So these have certain characteristics which are common, that can be kept in one class. Multi-level, you can have an example, there is an employee, there is regional head, and in below to the regional head, very specific is a regional delivery head. So when it goes in this direction, guys, it is going to the generalization concept. G for generalization. And when we go it downwards, it is specialization. S for specialization. Reason is reusability. Inheritance reason is R. R for reusability. Interfaces we will cover in short period of time. Please wait. Hierarchical inheritance is like employee, manager, programmer, two different streams. Manager is also employee, programmer is also employee. So this is hierarchical inheritance example. Okay, let's cover one more point which is very important. Yes, I will try to give it. Let's see what is composition. Like before going ahead, composition is like before going ahead with the inheritance, let's just have a demo of composition. For example, come back to the customer. I will delete whatever code is there in the customer, so that with a clean code now we will have more better understanding. Suppose in the customer I am having id as my variable, then I'm having string name as my variable, then I can have address. Okay, but address is actually, it is actually a combination of your house number, your street name, your building name, your city, your state, pin code, etc., etc. So I can write it like this, like string say um, like house number. Sometimes the house number may have the alphabet, so I'm keeping it as string. So and then string, you can have house number, you can have what else, city, and state, you can have in pin code. This you can have id, name, and I'm just having this 4 variables. But instead of having like this, you can have another class which I'll create it over here, new Java class, as address. And inside address I can have this 4 variables, and you can have your go ahead, go and generate your constructor which will initialize all the 4 variables. You can have your getter setter if you want, go generate getter setter for all the variables. And you can also do not forget to have this toString method overridden. You can write it for all the. And also it is advisable, whenever you are overriding the constructor, always try to have a default constructor. Okay, so this is advisable because no object creation should fail if you have not, if you do not have multiple version, or if you don't have default constructor, your object creation will fail if you're not passing any parameter. So to avoid that, you can have this constructor, default one. So see, in no time I have written such a big code. It's a 60-line code. Not even 1 minute we took to write it with the help of this framework. Coming back to the customer now, instead of writing all that 4 variables, I can simply write it over here, address. And I can have that object of address. Yes, I'm going to share the notes link. Okay. And you can have a constructor for customer also. You can have toString method also over here. Okay. So now if you can create here, I'll create here only in the customer, one customer, say C1 object I'm creating, new customer. And let me pass the ID as 111, name as Arushi. No, I'm not using paid version of IntelliJ. It's a free one. It's a free one, Ayushi. Yes, in my IntelliJ there is a settings, all settings of Spring Boot are there. But right now our course is not dealing with anything related to Spring Boot. You might have seen some settings of the Spring Boot in my framework because I used to do it, but not in this session, not for this session. And address, okay, it is asking me the address object. So before passing the address object, I need to create the object, that is say address1 equal to new address I will create. And this needs the first parameter, what it needs, the first parameter, house number, city and state and pin code. Okay, say house number B1, then it needs city is say Mumbai, state it needs Maharashtra, and pin code it could be any pin code. Okay, this object address1 I can pass it here. Okay, and you can just print see one object. I have written toString, that's why the answer will come. And now when you see your output, see it, observe it. It is indicating all the details, address in a proper way, in a proper format. Guys, are you getting this example? Yes, my codes, whatever I'm explaining is already there in the PPT. Is the code clear, guys? So here composition has happened. Thank you, goal achiever. If you keep the proper name, it will be fine, more proper. Okay. So this is a composition. What relation we have done here? Customer has a address. So in the customer class, I have passed a object of address. This is this kind of relationship. You can call it as has a relation that customer is having inside address object. This is has a relation. And now we can go ahead and see the inheritance. I hope this has a is clear to all of you. Employee has a address and it's a has a relation. Whenever there is a has a part, it the address object will be inside the employee. Always remember this. The object will be in the other class. Hope this is clear. And this particular thing is called as composition. Okay. So now let's come to inheritance. What is inheritance? We have also seen inheritance is a kind of relation. Like for example, manager is a employee. Thank you so much, guys, for your responses. Amisha, Arushi, Dhruv, Payal, Shrisha, Chaya, Shomai, Valencia, and so many. Thank you, guys. Okay. So this is a kind of relationship. Manager is an employee. Now let's see. Here programmer is there, manager is there, two different classes, and both of them can be a employee. Both of them are employee. So you can have name, address, phone number, experience for programmer. You can also have name, address, phone number, experience for manager also. And now why to write these variables again and again in two different classes? Here we are repeating our work. We are repeating programming also. So in order to avoid this writing four variables, same kind of variables over here and here also, what we can do is we can have inheritance. We can have the common properties in one class and we can inherit that class into multiple classes. Okay, we can have the name, address, phone number, experience in the parent class, employee class, and these can be inherited by programmer and this can be inherited by manager. No, do not get confused between has and generalization. See what I wanted to say, do not get confused there. As I use these wordings, let me draw it for you guys. So whenever you are having one class and you are having the child class, say you are having the grandparent class, like let's have the employee, then you have the manager. Inside manager you are having delivery head, manager. D is missing. Now when I say generalize means common. So why I use that word? When I'm going in this direction, in upward direction. Okay, I said it is generalized. Generalization, because employee is very general term. It is very general word. It is not indicating what kind of employee. Is it a programmer? Is it a tester? It is not indicating me what kind of employee, what type of employee. So this is generalized word. But when I say somebody is delivery head, when I move in this direction, downward direction, it is very specific. That's why I used a term specialization. Okay. So these words are generalization, specialization. When we say parent, it is generalized. When we call it child, it is specialized. Hopefully this is clear. And has a thing, what is has a thing? Employee has a address. And delivery manager is a employee. So there is a difference between wordings. So when I say has a, it is a composition. So when I say has a, what is it? It refers to composition. Okay. And when I say is a, it refers to inheritance. Is this words clear, guys? Is the words clear? Has a, is a, generalized, specialized, all these words are clear? Thank you. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, okay. So inheritance, the need for the inheritance is reusability. Okay, has a and is a. This refers to inheritance and this refers to composition. Okay. Okay, if you want to inherit, you can have make use of this extends keyword. Let's do an example for this. Let's do example. Let me create another package, new, say package inheritance demos. This is my package. Inside this package, I'm creating a class called as employee. An employee class is having certain data, as I'm creating many times this classes, ID, string, name, and we can have address and all, but let me cut short it. ID, name, and what I can have salary. Okay. You can have your constructor on the place. You can have your toString methods. Okay. And now suppose you are having a class, one more class you are creating, say Java class, and that class is manager. Manager extends employee. Sorry, employee. Now, when manager is extending employee, what is happening? All its features can be accessed here in the manager class. If you want, you can keep these variables as private, then it won't be accessible. You can make it protected. So now manager is extending employee. So these features are accessible. I can have a very specific to manager task, that is I can have say team size. this different variable I can have it. I will have a constructor for manager, that is generate a constructor for manager. Okay, but how the constructor is generated? See, manager is accepting ID, name, and salary. Yes, it is accessing all the features from the employee, and team sides its own feature. And what is happening? These three variables are getting initialized in the parent class. And to call the parent class constructor, this constructor we have to call it in the child class. And to call this constructor in the child class, we are making use of super keyword over here. What the super keyword will do? It will call the parent class constructor. Okay. See, you can make use of super keyword like this. You can write super dot some variable ID. It will call the parent class variable. If you are writing like this, you can write super dot some method name. For example, have I written any method? No, but you can write some method name. It will call the parent class method. But if you want to call a constructor, you can just simply write super. If you want to call a variable or method, you can write super dot and call whatever you want. So right now it is calling the parent class constructor, and these three values will get initialized from the parent class, and team size is getting initialized over here itself. And now you can create a object of here also. Let me have the say toString method for all the variables. Okay, and you can have the main method in this class, or else if you want to have another implementation class, that is also fine. You can have the another class also. Right now I am writing in the same manager class, because in next 10 minutes we have to, let's see if it is possible, we will cover I wanted to cover today that abstract classes and interfaces also, but we are having 10 minutes now, and let's see if it is possible, we'll try to cover today, or else we will take it tomorrow, abstract classes and interfaces. So manager object I'm creating equal to new manager, and I can pass the ID 12, the name Priyal, and the salary we can have some salary, and team size of 12 people. And if you want, you can simply do some manipulations, some task you can have, or else you can just have object and check the value. I'm writing right now just the object, toString is written. So this is your output. Getting it, guys? Inheritance we have done. We have done with the single inheritance. Is it clear, guys? Please put it in the chat box. Is it clear? If it is, we will go ahead. Okay. Okay, let's see ahead. Inheritance I have shown you. And okay, there is one more concept, method overriding. Let's finish this concept. Method overriding, like polymorphism. In polymorphism, we have covered method overloading, and we have covered constructor overloading. But dynamic polymorphism, runtime polymorphism can happen with the help of overriding. Now, overriding means, suppose you are having now employee is the class. Here you are having some method. For example, let me create one method. Say void show, or let's say display. I'm having the method display data. Okay, this method is there, a very simple method, and inside this I'm writing I am parent class function. Okay, this I have written. Now this is the parent version, or let me write I am parent class version, better word. I'm parent class version. And now when I rewrite this same method in the child class, in the manager class, suppose I'm writing it over here. Now this particular thing is known as override. Now I can represent this annotate this particular method, overridden method, with a annotation override. The importance of this annotation is that the compiler understands that this particular method is overridden by the manager class, which is present in the employee class. So its signature has to match up with the parent class. Okay, so its signature has to match. For example, now the parent class, we are not having any parameter, but by mistake or any time if I put over here int a, any parameter, the override annotation start giving me error. What is the error? That method does not override method from its superclass. Signature means this is the signature. Void, return type is void, name is display data, and number of parameter is 0. Now this is the signature, and the override will make sure that you are having the matching signature as your parent. Now I changed the signature. What I did, I have included one parameter. Now this becomes a different version. This doesn't become same as parent. So this override is giving me error. So you can make use of this annotation, which is newly added, like in the Java 8 feature, it has been added. This, you can eliminate the parameter and you can have a method which is having the exactly same signature as the parent class. And now instead of parent class, you can write it here child class version and child class version. So now when you call it in the child class by using the child class object obj dot show, what is it, display data, you can see in the output I am child class version. Okay, but if you are not overriding this, let me comment out this, and if you run this, it will give you the parent class version, because parent class is having this method. And if you don't want this version, if you don't want this code, you don't want to use the way your parent has written the code, you want to have your own code for in your class, child class, very specific code, then you can write it, you can override it and write it. That's the concept of override method. Sorry, is the override feature clear? Method overriding is clear, guys? Yes, signature means the return type, the name of the method, the number of parameters it is accepting. This means the signature. Any other questions, guys? Okay. Can we quickly cover abstract classes and interfaces, or shall we take it tomorrow? Okay, method overriding you want me to explain? What we will do, we will take okay, guys, I can understand. We are sitting from 2 long hours. So let's see the concept tomorrow, but I'll once again repeat the concept of overriding. Overriding means, let me come here in the notepad and explain you. What it simply means, suppose there is a parent class, you are having a parent, you are having a child class. Some method is present in the parent class called as show method. And when you have, there is a parent child relation, okay, do not forget there is a parent child relation. When you have in the child class the show version, it is overridden. The same signature when you have, and you are annotating with override, it is a overridden method which has the same matching signature as the parent one. Okay, so same example is given here. In the employee class we are having display data function, and in the manager also we are having display data function headed with override annotation. Both of them are having same signature, but the code inside it is different. Parent is having some other code and manager is having some other code. This concept is called as method overriding. Okay, we will see the next very few like is left, that is abstract classes and interfaces. These topics we can see it tomorrow. For today's topic, if you guys have any doubts, anything, you please put in the chat box. I'll take your questions for more to 5 minutes, and then we can exit, then we can end. Process of changing the logic, no, process of maintaining the same signature is overriding. You, and that is also dynamic polymorphism, that you decide which version of the method will be getting called at the runtime allocation. So that is dynamic binding, late binding, and runtime binding. So it is polymorphism, dynamic polymorphism. Whereas overloading and constructor overloading and method overloading, that is called to a method is resolved at the compile time. So that is a uh, compile time binding, early binding. Yes, I will give you, I will give you. Okay, guys. If no questions, we can terminate. Can we?